For those of you who don't know, because it was just a wild and woolly admissions season, or maybe it was two, I'm not even sure. For some of you, three actually. So I want to welcome you officially to Butler Montessori, and I'm so excited that we're going to be open and we're moving forward, and we're trying to take some extra time and care to orient everyone, because obviously we will be having more people, more students coming back to school, and hoping for just a really, really great year. So one thing I wanted to do is give you an overview of where we are in terms of the school at this point, that we'll be reopening the YCC, which was closed during the pandemic. And then we will move from, we had originally 3 primaries and we closed one during the pandemic. So we'll have 2 regular primaries, and then we'll have a third, going back to our 3rd primary, which will be acting as a smaller classroom in the beginning. And most of you have received invitations to that, to meet Miss Freda Jung, and she's at school already getting organized. So it's been really exciting. And so that's the YCC in the primary. And then in the elementary, we combined 2 elementary classrooms in terms of space, so that if there was any kind of event that required us to keep the students distant, we would have enough space in the elementary and in the primary to give everybody the appropriate, what was recommended in the pandemic before. So Miss Blumgren will be taking up both classrooms in the Ginny Wright Art Center, which is up on the hill, and then the upper elementary will take up the whole of what was our all-purpose room. So one of the things that will happen this year is we'll scale back on, of course, some of our all-community activities. Number 1, for the sake of safety, and number 2, because it will be one very large classroom for the upper elementary students. And then Anna Jantz will continue down in the main building, and she'll take up the back, what was our first all-purpose room, in the Ginny Wright, in the main building. And the intermediates will go back to having the whole of the park house. And during the pandemic, they did not. They just had 2 rooms, and another classroom had that 3rd space. So we've been busy moving around furniture endlessly, trying to make sure that we have used our space in a way that is going to maximize everyone's safety and the well-being of the cohorts as well, which were just really, really so small last year that we would like to be able to go back to a regular cohort size, but use these bigger spaces to allow for a better social emotional experience. And that's what we will look like in the fall. So I just wanted to give you an overview of my thoughts on that. And then just reminding everybody how the Montessori environments work, that you have the YCC and then the primary environments, which hold basically your 3, 4, 5s, and that there's flexibility in there in terms of whether some students are staying a little longer or going a little sooner to the elementary. And then the elementary is broken into 1st, 2nd, 3rds, and then 4th, 5th, 6th, which we call upper, and then our intermediate program, 7th, 8th, and 9th. So we're really excited about our community. And if you missed that in our interview, we just celebrated 50 years of Montessori here in Darnestown. So that was unfortunately in the middle of the pandemic, but it was still a lot of fun and a big accomplishment. So before we go a little bit further into some granular things about uniform, I wanted to remind everybody that we are an outdoor school. We try to be outdoors as much as possible, and that the children will get muddy and dirty, and we like that. So we want to make sure that you know that, and that I say that, and that you're aware of that as part of our programming. In the elementary, the students have a uniform. You'll receive your parent handbooks, and part of this is to give you some time to reflect on what you might need to get. But the elementary uniforms are a modified uniform, basically just khaki or navy blue on the bottom, and on the top, red, yellow, or blue polo shirts with a collar. And you should feel very comfortable getting something that they can get completely ruined or hand-me-downs. We love that. And then in the primary, we've been doing a lot of reflecting on society today, and we are moving towards having the children come in very simple clothing, and to move away from the sparkly shoes and the dress-up clothes, and it's become very prevalent and affordable, but it is a distraction for the students. And so we're asking everyone as they move into the fall to really look at the clothes and steer clear of the Disney and the cartoons and they have these shirts now, which you can rub one way and rub the other. And we're trying to encourage them not to touch each other. And so it becomes a distraction in the classroom for the children. And we're asking everyone to really take a look at that and to not dress your children up in Elsa clothing. Essentially, it's a Montessori school. We're grounded in reality and have lots of lessons and lots of fun, and we want them to be able to be very practically dressed. So and there'll be things in your parent handbook as well going over all this, but this is just as you're looking towards what you'll be needing for September, October, November. So just a little bit of an overview. In the intermediate, of course, they make their own dress code, which they talk about at the beginning of the year and usually run past me, and they'll inform you of what they're wearing. So long as it's respectful, I'm good with that. And then Natasha is going to give us a little overview. Many people have been asking me a lot of questions about the pandemic and will we be wearing masks and what will we be doing, and we just don't know. So she's going to give you an overview of where we are right now and why we are there, and then we can all just keep our fingers crossed and hope that we stay in this very, very low transmission rate, which of course is wonderful. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's really nice to see all of your faces, and I'm excited to see you in person, either next week or in September. So essentially, we're expecting to be in a similar place to where we are now, which is wearing masks indoors and taking them off outside when we know that we can be distant from one another, and keeping the same, a lot of the same cleaning protocols that are in place right now, which is, cleaning high touch points several times during the day, cleaning all the materials at the end of the day, and fogging the classrooms with the green clean stuff that we have at the end of the day. It's been helpful not only for COVID, but for all the other flus and tummy bugs and colds and everything that go around, and we'll probably see an uptick in those now as families are able to be more together outside of school. But some of those things will still help with keeping us healthy in school. We follow Office of Child Care guidelines, and that's where they are right now. So of course, as soon as they give us updates, then we'll update you. So, watch the space. It could change.
We currently in the welcome letters, which we're working to consolidate, have left that space blank because it changes all the time. With that, maybe we'll lift out one and put in another. We don't know. So to that point, the parent portals and the welcome letters will be sent a little early this year. We're hoping to get them sent by July 15th. And in the parent portal, you'll get an email that basically tells you your parent portal has received information. And that's your welcome letter from the school, and telling you your classroom assignments and things that you'll need to know from your classroom teacher. And each guide, it will also have your handbook in it and a student directory. And those are the kinds of things you can find inside of your parent portal. And then following that, on July 17th, we're going to have another gathering. It was wonderful to see so many people on Saturday, and I thought it was great fun and people really need it. So we're going to have another gathering on July 17th, and we're calling it Stop, Drop, and Read, and we'll have books out. For those of you who haven't met your primary teacher, some primary teachers will be there, and it's a hit or miss. And if I know that the teacher will be there, she'll send you an email and say, I'll be on the primary deck or the elementary deck if you'd like to stop and say hello. And then the swimming pool will also be open. So we'll be welcoming people the same that we did before on the front porch with name tags and a check-in, and then you're free to go and enjoy the campus, and the pool will open, and we will also have lifeguards. Want to make sure you know that the lifeguards will come and they make sure that everybody's safe and following good safety protocols at the pool. So that's kind of bringing you through July. That's what we have planned for July. So then do you have anybody have any questions about July, any of the events in July?
I also want to add that on July 16th, there's another farm gift pickup. So if you haven't signed up yet, go back to your email from Natasha. I think it was 2 weeks ago. There's a Sign Up Genius link in there. The intermediates have prepared like a quick little tour and a little farm gift, which includes a coupon that you can use at their farmers market.
Also, I did want to say, if you have a question that we are not going to be able to answer tonight, or you remember, you can put it into the chat and use the chat. And if we don't get to it tonight, of course, we'll gather whatever questions we have and get back to you in a general kind of communication about what we received that we might have missed. So now it's August, we're moving forward, and school docs is inside of your portal, and that the deadline for filling out school docs is August 6th. And that was you, Natasha.
Yeah, those are your medical forms. So the reason we need those by August 6th is because the nurse has to go through them and make sure that everything is signed by a doctor that's supposed to be signed by a doctor, that we know what immunizations your children have, what medications they need, what over-the-counter medications you're allowed to give. It's really tedious to fill in the forms, and some of it is duplicative because some of it we have to have for the state and some we have for us. But the good news is you only fill it in once. And then as long as you're with us, all you have to do is go back the next year and say, yes, this is still true. Yes, this is still true. Yes. So do that by August 6th so that we don't have to chase you in August. And then 2 other social events that we have coming up in August is what we have. I don't know if you've heard yet, the Butler Parent Connection is our equivalent of a PTA. And they're having 2 play dates, so you can get together and chat with other parents instead of just Laura and Kelly and I. And August 7 is the elementary one, and August 14 is the primary one. And we've made those both at 4 p.m. so that we can get past the heat of the day. And that's just, checking in on the playground, chatting to people, and getting to know each other some more. And then Friday, August 27 at 2 o'clock. So that's that's the week before school starts. We'll have a parent orientation. Now that's for all the parents. This is, you would come to your classroom and you would hear from your teacher more information specific to your class. So Laura calls it the practical life of the classroom. So this is your teacher telling you exactly what you will be doing in the classroom, what it looks like for your children, etc. We would highly recommend that at least one parent attend that. And if you would like to, you can bring your child. They can hang out in the classroom a little bit, and then they'll go out on the playground with the assistant while you sit and gather information from the guide. Yes. So questions about August? Okay, Laura.
Okay.
I had a quick question.
Sure.
Yes.
We love it.
Regarding the forms, I already filled most of them, but there was one I was not sure how it's done because I couldn't figure at the pediatrician's website. The over-the-counter, I don't know if anyone had already experienced that. So is that a standard form or it's something I would take to the pediatrician to sign?
Yes.
You would take it to the pediatrician to sign.
Okay.
Yeah.
For those.
And,
yeah,
and
we
most,
do.
Most pediatricians, you don't need an appointment. You can just drop it off, and they usually have a forms fee. It should be in the range of $10 to $20. Sometimes 30. It depends on your copay may cover it. As well. But
yeah. Okay.
It just
yeah,
allows
we do
us
have
to
an
give
appointment anyway, but I was
great.
just not sure
Yeah.
because her pediatrician has a whole system to request those forms, but I couldn't find anything like that. So
yeah,
I will check with them. Yeah, thank you.
I think you have to download or print that because that's the Office of Child Care's actual form that when they come to check that we have permission to give the over-the-counter for some students, and it comes from the doctor. Yeah.
And yes, it is okay to bring both children to the play dates. Definitely. Yeah, the more the merrier at the play dates.
So now we've made it to September. Let's just imagine hypothetically. And what I want to remind everyone about is that September is a month of orientation and transition. And I want you to prepare yourself and your children that we're here for you. We want to help you in every way we can, but everybody is of course going to be transitioning back in. There's going to be an adjustment period. For some people, it's going to be a short adjustment period and it's going to be super enjoyable. And for other people, there may be some more stress attached to separation. And that's what we're here for, to help you. And we try to get that as individualized as we need for each student and each family. So your teacher will be reaching out to talk to you about that individually to make sure we're all on the same page about how to be supportive to you in the transition in particular. And, you know, I've seen everything from little Johnny at 2.5 jumping out of the car and going, bye, mom. And, you know, another student crying for a month every day. Right. And they both are in college now, so it's okay. You know, it works out. It's just sometimes they have different emotions. They're all very different. So we want to work with you to support you in that, but I also just want everybody to just take a deep breath and know that September, you're excited, you want to go back to school. There are a lot of exciting things that happen, but there's also a big transition period. And for some families, that's also going to feel like a little bit of a loss, right? Because you're shifting out of maybe being at home for quite some time into a completely new situation where you're separated from your child. So you can express that to your guide, or you can, you know, schedule a phone call. The best way to reach me is to, I'm best by phone. And if you really need to speak to me, you can always check in with Natasha and she can put you on my calendar, because I love and want to see you, and want to tell you that that's what I'm here for. I've raised 3 of my own children and I've been in this work for many, many years, and I love to be helpful if I can. So, I also wanted to tell you that as we move back to school, in the structure of our school this year, we've added some extra infrastructure in order to support our transition back, basically by level, and an additional person by level is how we're looking at it right now. Just I can imagine that there are going to be some families are going to have children that are going to have a little more need, or families are going to have a little more need. So we've staffed ourselves in a way that we hope that we can meet that by adding some additional staff at each, in the primary, in the lower elementary, and in the upper elementary. Not in the intermediate. They already have a lot of people supporting them. So that's a little bit about what transitioning back will look like. Does anybody have any questions about September? It feels like I'm just kind of warming you up to what it could feel like. And Natasha is going to tell you about my favorite subject, and everyone needs to pay attention now. Put down your dinner and your drinks.
Carpool. It's the first thing you experience as a parent.
We're sorry.
First day, yes. So if you're in the elementary or the intermediate, your time in the morning is from 8:20 to 8:30. And this will all be in your parent handbook. I'm just giving you a quick flash view, right, of what it looks like. So 8:20 to 8:30, you come down the driveway nice and slowly. We've got a sign that says 9 miles per hour. It's a very strange number, but we hope that it catches your attention. And then if you're in the upper elementary, you will pull up, you can see the Junior Wright Art Center, this little purple hexagon. Yeah. And then the red one. So that's Miss Nguyen and Mr. Brown in the upper elementary. And then the light blue is Miss Blomgren. And this will also be, like I said, in your portal, so you'll know who your teacher is and you'll know where you're going.
You can study it.
Dance down in the main building, as Laura said. And that's 8:20 to 8:30. And then at 8:30, the primaries and the YCC children will join us. And you will also drive very slowly down the driveway. And Miss Bell's children will drop off. Ooh, hold on, I can't see because I've got all of you over my map. There we go. Miss Bell's children will drop off at the top of the stairs that lead down to the swimming pool. So if you came, you went down those long, slow stairs. That's where Miss Bell's classroom will drop off. And then Miss Garrison, Miss Jung, and Miss Pelkey, so that's 2 primary classes, and the YCC will drop off at the main building. But don't worry, there'll be lots of us out there and we'll help your children out of the car. And then the intermediates will skip all of that and you'll come down the driveway and turn left and go right up to the back of the park house at 8:30 to 8:40. And we encourage timeliness for you and your children because it's very stressful for them when they come into the classroom and everyone else is already there. One thing I want to point out to you is what we call the staging tree. I don't know what would ever happen if something happened to that tree, because everyone goes and they wait there. It's right as you come down the driveway. There's the big tree before the gravel driveway where all the staff park, where you go down to the indoor arena. And if you're a little early for your own carpool, you just park right there with your blinkers on, and then the other cars know they can go around you and get in line.
So if you're a primary or a YCC person who's early, you would go by the staging tree and then you would turn on your blinkers so that the elementary people would know that they would go around. And we have lots of people out in our time windows to be as supportive as we can. During COVID, parents got out of the car and of course we took everyone's temperatures. And I don't think we have an answer on whether or not we have to take everyone's temperatures coming up in September. So I think that we do not, and that we're going to go back to our regular carpool where the guide actually opens the car door for you and you stay in your car. Over the years, I've just found that this is the safest. When the children and the parents start to get out of the car in the middle of carpool, it can get a little frightening, actually. So we found over the years this runs really smoothly. And if you are needing to park, you can go right there in the front and park, and then take your child's hand and walk across the parking lot. If you for some reason people need to come in, they have snack, they want to say hello, they have to go to the bathroom, all kinds of things.
And then at the end of the day, primaries are picked up at 3 o'clock, between 3 and 3:10. And then the elementary are picked up between 3:15. That's right, Kelly? I don't have it on my map.
Yes, 3:15 to 3:30.
That's right.
And then extended day starts.
Yes.
And it seems a little overwhelming at first, but once you get the flow of it, and usually it takes us a week to kind of work out the kinks where people know that they should do X, Y, and Z and move forward. And that, like right now in camp, for example, we are bringing quite a few people down the driveway, but it's in a staggered way. And it will be simpler still during school, obviously. Mm-hmm. So.
I have a quick question. How does it work for the half-day schedule?
So you would drop off just as normal, whichever your spot is. And then at noon, you'll pull up in front of the main building and just wait in your car, and we'll bring your children out to you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And that's how, we do it at the end of the day too.
Mm-hmm.
I think Martha has a question.
Go ahead, Martha.
Yeah, thank you. So I have one elementary and one primary. Should the primary be early or the elementary get a little bit late? Probably the former, I'm guessing.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
So you would drop off and pick up at the younger child. Anyone who has siblings will drop off and pick up at the younger child's place, and the older child will come to you, and just kind of aim for that middle time. So if you're in the morning, 8:20 to 8:30 is your elementary, you sort of aim a little closer to 8:30, and we'll just get both children at the same time. And then the elementary child will walk up to where they're going to go.
Not using the driveway, going down through the hall and around and up the back steps.
Yeah.
That's how the children move around campus.
Mm-hmm.
So Natasha put in there, please exercise patience in the first week. We're working out the kinks. We try to come out and make sure that everybody is, feeling comfortable. And if you're still struggling, please call us and we will try to help you get some extra support if that's what you need. So now we're to, what does your student need? The letters of what each student needs in each class are going to be in your parent portal when you receive your welcome letter. So I'm just trying to give you an overview for those of you who are early shoppers. The primary students are going to go back to backpacks, even though they didn't use them last year, they will go back to it this year. And then their outdoor, I'm going to call them their rubber boots. Their outdoor rubber boots, and their wellies. And then a change of clothes, several changes of clothes labeled in a plastic bag. And then of course a healthy lunch and a snack. So we won't go back to a communal snack until we get the all clear from the Office of Child Care. Before we had a communal snack, now it's going to stay as an individual snack till we figure out what's next. So basically for purchasing, you've got your backpacks. Again, you want to make sure that you're getting something that's practical and durable and child size. You don't want that child to have a big, huge backpack and fill it with things that are very hard for them to carry, and steering clear of all of the commercialized kinds of things that are out there. It becomes a very big distraction in the hallway, and it's easy to find something that's just, plain navy or yellow or pink or some, color they like, and put their initials on it. That's always helpful, or their name. And then in the elementary, they are not going to use backpacks this year. They will have their supplies and a supply list. So no backpacks at all. They're going to need their wellies as well, and one set of change of clothes in case they get really muddy or wet on the first day. And when that change of clothes is used, it'll go back to you in a bag, and then you'll send back in a fresh one, and a healthy lunch and a snack. The lunch boxes in the elementary, if your child is having something that needs to be kept cold, then you need to go for the cooler lunch boxes with the ice. It's really hot in September, and we don't refrigerate the lunches in the elementary. So it's just kind of an overview of the supplies you will need. They're not going to stay with the 3 pairs of shoes, which is what we had during COVID. We're going to go back to basically an indoor pair and then their boots. So that's where we are with the shoes. Communications. We're now to communications. We've been working really hard as a school to keep improving this. And I do send you surveys, and I do want to hear from you. And if it isn't working for you, because I'd like to know why and how we could improve it. So we have gone to something that's called a Homeroom App, and you will get a request from your teacher to join your Homeroom App before the school year begins, and a test where she checks, and then hopefully if everybody, or he checks, hopefully everybody will also ask you when on Friday you come to the thing that we're asking you to for orientation, to check in and say, have you signed into your Homeroom App? And they use Homeroom App to show you pictures of the classroom or a student working, a short message. We're like right now in the summer primary, we're going berry picking on Thursday. Like you might want to know that, or maybe it's Friday for them, but so things that are going on, information that you might want to hear and need to hear. And then of course I'm communicating regularly, putting out just something that's generally about what's going on from the whole school's perspective. So events that are coming up, philosophical underpinnings that you might want to orient yourself to, and then our main form of communication, we have something that's called the Butler Bulletin, and it goes out every Friday. And you can look on the Butler Bulletin to get updated about things that are going on at school. I would say that's a really great one to put on your list to check in from. And then, as Natasha said earlier, we have something in our community that's called the Butler Parent Connection. And basically their main role is to help us build community and make sure people are aware of different events, and also to help everybody make friends, because that's important if you want to have fun at school. And you do need to role model that for your child. So that's an important part. And you will get some communications from the classroom liaisons that are from the Butler Parent Connection. And of course, you can look at our social media. We have some really beautiful social media. We have an Instagram, we have a Facebook page. What else do we have? There's one more, I'm
LinkedIn.
sure. Yeah, I'm sure there's another one. I think the intermediates have an Instagram for their cats currently, or maybe there's an Instagram for the barn cats if you'd like to follow our
Kitty.
cats. Yeah, Montessori Kitty. So, and then we have a Montessori newsletter that goes out quarterly, and it goes out to sort of our broader community, our alumni and our alumni families, that kind of thing. So those are some of our forms of communication. I have to say, I'm just going to, put it on the table. I am old fashioned. I prefer the phone. That's who I am. My favorite method of communication, and I tell the teachers, and I'm going to tell you all, is that you meet face to face, and that your child is very important to us. And we work really hard to meet your child exactly where they are and to meet you where you are. And the face to face communication, it really can't be replaced. And the teachers have time in their day, and early in the morning and in the afternoon, to have a check-in time, which is not carpool, but you can email them and say, hey, I'd like to have 15 minutes on Tuesday morning. Do you have a minute? You know, and that is, I think, just really priceless to be able to connect in that way on a more regular basis. I also think that if you have something that's bothering you and you've held on to it for more than 24 hours, you need to let your teacher or someone at school know, so that we can help you with that thought. So if something's gone more than 2 days, if it's come up 2 days in a row and you still are hearing it, please contact someone. So that's a little bit about communication and connection at school.
May I add
Are there
something, Laura?
questions? Oh, go for it.
I'm just going to say, as you said, you're old fashioned and you don't send a lot of emails. So what I want to stress is when Laura sends an email, it's important because she doesn't send a lot of emails. And so if you get an email from Laura, please read it thoroughly. And I want to say the same thing about your teachers too. They don't send a lot of emails, but when they do, it's because they want to inform you something important about the class or about your child. So please read the email thoroughly.
I encourage all of the guides not to have lengthy emails about personal information about your child. So that's a school-wide conversation that we have, just because I would rather have that conversation in person and make notes about it if we need to, but not have paragraphs and paragraphs of what's happening in your child's world out in social media. That's just a personal piece. Yeah, so that's everything about communications. Natasha, you want to take the next calendar bit that we're walking everybody through?
Yes. So on August 27th, the Friday, you will have been in to see us. And then September 1st is the first day for all the elementary children, as well as for the returning primary students. So if your children are with us in the summer program, or they were with us last year, they will be there on September 1st. And for those children who have not yet stepped foot on campus, except, in their classroom with their teacher officially, their first day is September 7th. So that gives the guides and everybody a little time to get everyone settled for those 3 days of school before the new students join us. And then if you are not done being social and you aren't sick of seeing us, we also have a new Parent Potluck on September 6th in the Monday, which is at 9 a.m. And that is, we will have more of the parent classroom liaisons there so that you can get to meet them and get to know them as well as each other.
The purpose for the purpose for the Monday date, which actually falls on Labor Day, and we will be there, is because at that point your child would be coming to school the next day. So often coming and playing on the playground and hanging out in the space helps them alleviate their anxiety. And then they're like, oh, I went to this park, yesterday. I was here and I played yesterday. And then they have that fresh in their mind, even though many of you will come on campus, and I hope you do all summer, and that will help too. Having this happen on Monday and then for the returning students to come on the 7th is a way of supporting normalization for them, because the returning students at that point would have already come in and dealt with their own anxieties about returning to school and be more settled and be available to support the new students as well and welcome them. So. Any questions about that?
There are a couple
Great.
more things in September.
Laura, do you want to talk about back to school night?
I would love to talk about back to school night. So we're always trying to improve. And one of the things that has happened over time is that a great deal of energy has gone into making sure that everybody has the things that they need and the clothes that they need and the food that they need. But we have yet to really talk about Montessori and the curriculum and how that works in the classroom. So I've asked the teachers to do these two events, one being the Friday, where we're really encouraging that one parent come for the Friday orientation, and the second one being back to school night. And back to school night is the night that the guide orients you to the Montessori classroom and the level to which your child is experiencing inside of their environment, and reminds you about the characteristics of the child in that plane of development and who that child is and how the Montessori classroom is working. And we'll also teach a few lessons, show you some lessons across the curriculum. If you're in the elementary, maybe do an introductory story and talk a little bit about how cosmic education works. And that way, we're not muddling the two. So that is how that is divided up and why it's divided up that way. So that's back to school night. Typically, we all used to get together, but this year we won't. So I'm not sure what I'll do. I might go pop around from room to room. I don't know yet. Maybe we'll all stand in the parking lot. I don't know. We'll stew on it. A lot of new, a lot of reinventing the wheel as we go here. And then also in the fall, which will come in your welcome letter, that the classes have a class gathering. And this is a time where all the parents and the children in one particular class come together and have a social event. Usually in September and October, everybody gets a chance to do that. In the elementary, we have a fantastic program philosophically grounded in the going out for the elementary child. There are some orientations for that. The first orientation is going to be Thursday, September 23rd. This is all going to come to you in writing, but just kind of giving you an idea of the varieties of things that go on in September. Does anybody have questions about September?
I think Ashvia had a question.
No, I just wanted to know the date for the back to school night, but as Laura mentioned, we're gonna get the date.
Oh yeah, you'll get crib notes for this whole thing, and we're taping it, so you can go back and watch it. But that is Thursday, September 9th, and you'll meet in your child's classroom.
All right, thank you.
So now there are a couple of other really great events that we have all school-wide. In the fall, we have a Grandparents and Special Friends Day. That's in October. And we have a fall festival, which is on Saturday. We didn't have it last year, so we're all looking forward to having it again. Saturday, October 23rd from 10 to 2. Super fun. Did we get a food truck yet, Natasha? Usually we do lots of fun things there. So you'll hear more about that from the Butler Parent Connection. And then we do our annual Giving Kickoff. Giving Tuesday is become a very popular event for our community, where we have little challenges and people are up texting back and forth to find out, where we are. We usually get a participation challenge that we have. So that gets us all the way into the fall. Does anybody have questions about any of those events?
Or anything.
Yeah, you'll be so busy. Who can see Kelly, can you see the chat?
I don't have anything on my end, but maybe Natasha might.
Oh, Natasha says that. If you're not receiving the Butler Bulletin, email me.
Like Laura said, we're always available. This is just a general overview. And so after July 15, if you've had a look at your parent handbook and your welcome letter and you have any questions, just, drop us an email, give us a call, and we'd be happy to answer. There's so much when you join a new school, and sometimes it feels like we have a secret code, right? What is the GWAC? What is A's Lair? And we're here to answer those questions. GWAC is the Ginny Wright Art Center. It's the big building where the upper elementary and Miss Blumgren's classroom will be. And the A's Lair is the pavilion right next to the swimming pool.
Between the pool and the GWAC.
And we're going to have a new little pavilion soon too.
We're excited.
Up on the soccer field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, another outdoor classroom space.
Natasha, there's a question in the chat for you. I don't know the answer to that one.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. We'd all like to know.
That's a Natasha question.
That's a mystery.
Yeah. In terms of COVID, right now there's no travel restrictions except internationally. So just let us know when you're traveling. And from the perspective of missing school, it's the same question. Just let us know when you're traveling, let your teacher know, and probably myself, and we'll put you on the calendar. It's not something where we are giving you a strike against if you're taking your children out on vacation. That's a wonderful thing to spend family time together.
So I see a question about what time does the bus pick up at our home? And I was chuckling because we really don't get the bus routes all the way ironed out. And once we get the bus routes ironed out, you'll receive an email about the pickup time. And if something's goes awry with the bus, then you'll receive a phone call from the office, which does happen occasionally. So that's that's how the bus routes will work. And then Kelly, I see you answered on July 15th, the welcome letters will be sent and they'll be in the classroom. They'll be in your parent portal. Someone else asked, are there any materials you recommend we get for this summer to better prepare our children for the fall?
Are you asking about school supplies, or are you asking for like school work to do, like homework?
Yeah, and any homework, I mean, doesn't have to be officially homework, but any materials you'd recommend to sort of, better acclimate the kids before they start in September. Or just enjoy the summer is a good answer.
Lots of reading, Steve. Spencer's going to be in the lower elementary, so he can
the cursive practice.
Cursive, math facts. They're going to be spending a lot of time doing math facts, so no more than 10-15 minutes a day with the math facts.
I don't know.
Thank you.
Steve, I don't remember whether he was introduced to cursive or not, but there are some really lovely introductory books like at Barnes and Noble, and it's called Handwriting Without Tears. And it breaks it down in a very similar way to how we break it down.
Great, thank you.
Sure. Anybody else?
If it's popped in your head more than 2 times now, you should ask it. Either type it, if you want to type it privately to Natasha, you can privately message me.
There's one open question. It's like or in the chat, like do you know like like when you know like who the teachers will be for the different classes, or like how the kids will be distributed across the different classes?
In July 15th, that's when you'll know. You'll get the welcome letter from your specific teacher, and that's how you'll know who you're going to.
And they may reach out to you earlier if we finalize the class list before then, especially they may call you just to introduce themselves or let you know that they're going to be at the July get-together that we're going to have, the Stop, Drop, and Read event.
Some will and some won't, so that's why I'm not making any promises. Several of the guides are off doing additional training this summer, so it's busy summer.
I have a question regarding students starting in July in primary. Is the carpool system the same, or is that different?
I think, Sana, the times might be a little adjusted because we try to get you in before camp crazy and out before camp really busy. I think that I have to check that. Unless
Natasha,
do you know,
Natasha,
Natasha?
off the top of your head? It's whatever it was this week.
It was this week. I believe that carpool starts at it's 8:20 to 8:30, so it's an earlier time so that you can be done before the camp carpool begins.
8:20. It's 8:20. You're right.
Yeah, and during the summer, you will pull up and you'll stay in your car and you take your child's temperature and show it to the guide or to the staff member that's standing outside. Then you'll park your car, switch it off, and get out and take your child out, and then the teacher will take them into the classroom. And then in the fall, we're hoping that we can move away from that whole system, and you would just pull up and stay in your car. We'll open the door and help your child out. But right now, you still have to take their temperature and show it to us, and then take them out of the car yourself. I have another question. In YCC and primary, will children have the option to nap or go to a quiet corner? Yes, absolutely. Your guide, your teacher will be reaching out to you, and you can let them know that your child still naps, and they'll make arrangements and let you know how all that works. And
see, are there any guidelines on lunches or snack? Can anything be warmed in the primary classes? So in the primary and YCC classrooms, they will have a refrigerator, but they do not have an option for warming up food. What we recommend is heating up the food and leaving it in a thermos, and then the thermos will be left outside of the fridge, I think, right, Natasha?
So like if
Yes.
it's something like soup or noodles and you warm it and you put it in the thermos, and then when the child opens it, it's still quite warm. So
Yeah.
Warm enough for them.
And
to
I think this year we've added a whole new section in our parent handbook about food and different ways you can work with the child to help you prepare food that's healthy and nourishing for their body and their brain as they learn and grow. But if you need any, if you have any specific questions, you can reach out to me, Laura, Natasha, or even your guide when you figure out who they are, and we'll all help you with that.
we've added pages actually.
You're welcome.
So
Did we answer the one about the class sizes yet?
where was the class size?
Okay,
Do
it
you
says,
know
do you know
yet?
yet the class size, specifically elementary classes? So
Both
in the elementary and lower elementary, we have about 20, it's somewhere, the average is 25. And then in the upper elementary, there are 2 classes that are sharing one big space, and the total number is 41, I think.
One class in the lower elementary, one class is a little smaller, I think at 23, and the other is at 25 because she has much more space in her classroom. And yeah, I think the social will help. Somebody is asking if we are a nut-free school, and no, we are not. If your child has severe nut allergies, that goes into the portal, the health portal, and then the teacher and the assistant work to make sure that there is no one near your child who is actually eating whatever type of nuts that your child is allergic to. What are the class sizes for the YCC and the primary? So our YCC can have up to 12, and I think we're starting with 9, just to kind of get ourselves back, because we didn't have the YCC last year. So that is always, they don't stay as long. Obviously, that's not a 3-year cycle. And the children spend a lot of time on toileting and toileting independent. So that's a very small group, and it will stay small. And in the primary, one has 20, right now 20 to 22 on the 2 classrooms that we had already had that are more normalized, and the new classroom is going to be between 13 to 16, something like that. Yeah.
Will intermediates write in cursive? If I remember correctly, by this point, they've already adapted their own, created their own writing style. So,
Yeah.
and they do at the beginning of the school year kind of make up their own set of rules. I forget what they call it, but they come up with their own classroom rules. And so that is something that they talk about. So it's not a requirement for them to write in cursive, but some of our students who kind of gone through our program do choose to continue to use their cursive.
And some come up with a modified italic kind of version of something that
kind of resembles cursive / print.
My last one, that was his version.
These are all great questions.
If you've thought it twice, you can put it in the chat, or you can just say, hey, pick me. Well, we're actually, hopefully we'll all get a little bit of a break, and Kelly Nguyen will not be here. She's going to go do just a little more studying in July. It's like her passion. I love that.
I actually have a class in 4 minutes.
So she'll be jumping out.
But I will be available by email. So if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. It will be best to reach out to me by email because I will be in Arizona, and I will just get back to you in between my classes. I see a question that says, do children go outside in winter as well? Yes, we go outside. There's no such thing as bad weather, only bad clothing. So make sure your child is dressed for the weather. Snow pants, snow boots. or there's a dog here barking. Winter coats, winter hat, gloves, all of that. Do the primary children go sledding, or is it only the older children? Okay, so the primary children, they go on the smaller hill and they go sledding, so they can bring their sled.
And their saucer sometimes.
Yeah. I don't think there's recommendations for outdoor weather gear, but if you have a question, you can just reach out to your guide, or Laura, Natasha, or me, and we can give you some suggestions when it comes time. Primary students will bring backpacks, and YCC students also bring backpacks. Is that right? I see Natasha nodding her head.
Yes.
So
They have
anything that
more
they need
change
to,
of clothes.
yeah.
Mhm.
But remember to put it on your child and see if they can walk with it, because sometimes
They cannot.
It's out to the back of their knees and like ka-conk, you know. Or you put
Yeah,
it
for the
on,
younger,
does the slow.
The child
back-
falls over backward on it.
yeah, for
Like,
the younger
okay.
child, it's hard for them to carry their lunchbox and their water bottle and all the things that they need to carry. So it's just much easier for them to keep it in their backpacks. But for the older children, like the elementary children, they don't have things that they need to bring back and forth other than their lunchbox and their water bottle. Everything else stays at school, so there's no reason to bring a backpack to school.
Well, it was wonderful to see everybody. We're all here in some version, some of us by email, some of us by phone, some of us in person. We have another question about, does school close due to bad weather, i.e. snow? Yes, we do close for snow days. That was quite a challenge last year because we typically follow Montgomery County because that's gives us information about how the buses would really be in the back areas. So we made our own decisions last year and we were fine. We let you know via Facebook and email, and we have an emergency text system as well. And then you'll receive an emergency text that lets you know that school would be closed in the case of severe weather. It's nice to see everybody.